William Morrow and HarperAudio present The Secret Keeper of Main Street, a novel by Trisha R. Thomas, performed by Janina Edwards. For Mom and Dad. For all the road trips looking at the stars from California to Oklahoma. A child not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth. Anonymous. A note from the author. Before oil seeped from the first well, the people of Mendol, Oklahoma, were a community of simple traditions and quiet longings. Women went to knitting club on Tuesdays, Bible study on Wednesdays, and tabernacle praise on Sundays. Later on, those same Sunday nights, men in their wool fedoras came together for handshakes and prayer meetings in the American Legion building, seating no more than 20 at a time. Football was their favorite sport, though the nearest team was at a college 150 miles south. Downtown housed a theater for plays and modest vaudeville acts. Next to that was the courthouse. Across the street was the post office and the First Bank. If the urge to see the cinema came about, they drove 6 in a Packard or Ford, 10 miles east to the neighboring city of Tulsa. A bell tower facing the center of town rang in the mornings to begin prayer service for school, with the next bell for the Pledge of Allegiance. Mendol was merely a speck of dust on a map back then. In the neighboring Cherokee fields, rigs had tapped into the earth 5 decades earlier, but those riches were divided quietly among a few good men. Unfortunately, they'd overlooked Mendol's tiny population, leaving them out in the division of wealth and plenty. No one cried about it. They were a proud group. Once the industrial drills were secured within their boundary lines, they set about rectifying the situation. A large theater with an arched marquee was built. There were 3 schools now. The center of town housed more than a flagpole on a cement block. Roads were paved. Streets and sidewalks led to more streets and more sidewalks. Halls, shopping centers, and homes went up, seemingly overnight. Even while financial woes wreaked havoc on the rest of the country, the heart of Mendol continued to beat to a different drum. The rhythmic pull of rigs was heard as they punctured deeper into the earth. Pillars snaked around the flat land and could be seen on miles of skyline from any direction. Barrels of oil filled cargo decks, ready for loading onto trains headed to destinations the men and women of Mendol would never see. In exchange, the zeros rolled onto the ends of their account balances and filled their coffers. They may not have had the Rockefellers, Roosevelts, or Vanderbilts, or Manhattan's Fifth Avenue, or the Plaza, but they did have one another. It was only right that they spent what they earned and bought what they deserved. They had their photos taken and printed in the Chronicle's society page. Yes, they had a society page. Charity balls and banquets, tuxedos and gowns, furs and cashmere overcoats, year-round giving for the needy, prayers and song for those far away physically, or in some cases spiritually, who'd lost their will to live in war and the Depression. Throughout it all, their foundation was built on insularity, keeping to themselves. God bless the child who's got his own. Welcome to Mendol, population 18,206, a sign read, at the forgettable entrance off Highway 98. That was before a swollen body was found, floating on top of the Red River's thick sludge. Now there was one less person. If the state prosecutor asked for the death penalty in the case of alleged murderer, Elsa Grimes, that would make 2 less citizens in the town of Mendol. 1. It was a gift, seeing what most people were afraid to see. It took her Aunt Charlene to teach Bailey she wasn't hexed. But did the visions have to be with naked bodies? 12-year-old Bailey asked one evening as
Sample complete. Ready to continue?